Thomas Matthew Crooks, the 20-year-old from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that attempted to assassinate the former president Donald Trump. Thomas was born on September 20th of 2003 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that makes him a Virgo. This is going to be part one, by the way. I will probably get to the transiting aspects of his birth chart in the following video if you guys would like to see that. This will be going over just main components that stuck out to me about his character, his psyche, his upbringing, etc. This is based purely off my observation as well as my experience as an astrologer in analyzing different natal charts. Starting first and foremost with his sun over here sitting at 27 degrees of Virgo. And keep in mind, I do not have a birth time, so this chart is run for 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And without a birth time, we cannot get an ascendant or the houses for that matter. So we're just looking at the planets in the signs and the aspects they make to each other. Secondly, I always look at the moon, and coincidentally, his moon is down here at home in the sign of Cancer. Now, what I noticed about his moon is that not only is it conjunct to Saturn, the great malefic, but it's also at a critical degree, which we call the evil degree or the misfortunate degree of 18. Now, of course, the moon is at home in the sign of Cancer. It generally does pretty well in the sign of Cancer, but of course, it is conjunct to Saturn, the great malefic, and we have to look at everything holistically. Now, the moon is associated with many things, but this is at a basic level our very instinctual parts of ourselves. It is our internal parts of ourselves, how we feel, our emotions, and how we feel comfortable. The moon is also our relationship to our mother, and coincidentally, Saturn is our relationship to our father. Now, there is debate in the astrological community of whether to look at the sun or Saturn in regards to the father figure. I look at both personally. But that said, this is a very strange conjunction of the moon and Saturn because Saturn is in its detriment because it's opposite to its home sign of Capricorn, and the moon is at home. So there's this weird discrepancy with the parental figures in the home of Thomas. Any aspect with the moon and Saturn is going to have a very heavy weight on how you feel about yourself internally. This is oftentimes a aspect, particularly the conjunction, because the conjunction is the strongest aspect in astrology that you will see mental health problems with. He likely suffered from some form of depression. Additionally, even weirder, he has Saturn down here at 12 degrees of Cancer, as I mentioned, opposite from its home sign in Capricorn. But opposite to Saturn and the moon, we have Chiron up here in Capricorn at 12 degrees, making an exact opposition. Chiron is the wounded part of ourselves. A lot of times, Chiron is a wound that we cannot heal within ourselves within this lifetime, but it does give us the capability to help heal others with that wound. That said, Chiron in Capricorn to me tells me that there is some sort of wound in regards to either a father figure, authority figure, or just authority and structure in general. This has the ability to really project its insecurities onto others. Capricorn is a sign of the public, it's your reputation. So he had this very narrow-minded view of structure and authority, right? And there's this weird parental dynamic that definitely needs to be investigated. Hopefully we'll find out more information about this. But to me, it reeks of fears of inadequacy and fear of judgment of others that are projected into the world because he had nowhere else to project them onto. He likely felt very misplaced in the world or out in public or like being seen or, even showing his emotions or his feelings because his feelings and emotions were likely very restricted. The father figure, both of them are a little bit questionable here, but we'll see. Also keep in mind here that astrology has layers, and if I had the birth dates of the parents, I would look at their charts as well. So this is just speculative just from looking at his chart. Now for his mind. He is a smart guy. I will give him that because he has Mercury in Virgo, which is at home, very analytical, but yet grounded. And this Mercury in Virgo makes a trine up there to his Chiron in Capricorn at 12 degrees, which makes it sextile to his Saturn in Cancer at 12 degrees. His wounds, in a way, supported him, or at least that's what he thought, that he could overcompensate for his wounding of structure and authority and his parental figures, Saturn and the moon down there in Cancer. And he could overcompensate for that by using his mind, whether subconsciously or consciously. Not to mention Mercury is in square to Pluto up there at 17 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is really kind of the deep depths of Hades and Pluto, right? And it's squaring Mercury, the mind. So this can infiltrate the mind with Hades type themes. Another interesting fact is that he had Venus in Libra. So that tells me Venus, his values, he valued relationships. But something tells me that he didn't have a lot of them. He was likely somebody who was maybe a loner and he felt very alone, which is unfortunate, but he valued relationships. Venus is also square to that Saturn and the moon down there in Cancer, and a square to Chiron at 12 degrees of Capricorn, making it a T-square. I have other videos on T-squares particularly, but it's not an easy aspect to overcome. A lot of people don't overcome it unless they're consciously aware of it. So the inflicted issues of structure, authority, and his parents likely led him to long for some sort of relationship to remedy that in some way. But here's where it gets really good, guys. As you hopefully know, we are under the transit of Mars conjunct Uranus, and it just so happens that Sir Thomas Crooks has Mars conjunct Uranus in his birth chart. Yes, so actually today, when I am posting this video, on July 15th of 2024, we have Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus at 26 degrees. Thomas has Mars conjunct Uranus. Mars is at 0 Pisces and Uranus is at 29 of Aquarius. 29 and 0 degrees are both critical degrees. I actually just made a video on both of these degrees if you guys want to go check that one out, but they are both very critical degrees. And because this conjunction in his birth chart is at 29 degrees of Aquarius and 0 degrees of Pisces, this makes it in square to the conjunction that is happening today on the 15th, but it's been happening and progressing for the last week or two and will be effective for another week or two. I will get into this further in the transit video if you guys want to see that. To finish up his birth chart, so he was one of the people on the planet that was born with a yod in his chart. We call this the finger of God. More or less, it's just a very faded, somewhat rare aspect pattern to have in your chart. So a yod is when you have two planets in sextile. So he has his Saturn, which we've been talking about for most of this video, and Saturn is sextile to his Mercury, which we already talked about in this video, and they both make in conjunctions up here to Neptune at 10 degrees of Aquarius. I don't think I would be too far off to say that there was some sort of influence from the parents or from his upbringing and or just how he felt internally, in that he wanted to use his mind to do what he thought was good for humanity and good for the people. It's interesting because I've seen several videos of information that came out about him being technically registered as a Republican, and he also donated to the Democratic Party. It's just weird to me because it's almost like maybe his parents were diehard Trump supporters or Republicans, or there was just some issue in regards to his parents or his home that he was trying to outsmart them or outwit them, and he thought he was doing some sort of justice for humanity. But as we know, Neptune is a planet of illusion. He wasn't all there. It was an illusion is what it was. It was an illusion to his mind. He was not right. But if you would like to see a part 2 on the transits that were transiting his birth chart and initially triggered him to do what he did, please let me know in the comments down below and I will make a part 2. And then as more information comes out, I can make further videos if you're interested. For personal readings, you can click the link in my bio. TikTok is having a little bit of an issue with the link. So if you're having an issue, just go over to Instagram or YouTube and click on the link or copy and paste it into your browser. You can find me on YouTube at The Cosmic Rose. I love you.